Hi, everyone. Rabbi Rosen here, hoping all is well with you, with some thoughts as we enter the weekend when we recall Martin Luther King, the federal holiday marking his life, taking place, of course, on Monday. I've always been haunted by a little story told about Martin Luther King's family. When his daughter was 6 years old, she was watching television and saw an advertisement for Funtown, an amusement park in Atlanta. And like any 6-year-old, she wanted to go. The problem, of course, was that Funtown was closed to Black children. When she asked her father, "Daddy, can we go?" he had to sadly say, "No, we can't." And he explained the reason why. And then he saw these tears forming in her eyes and reflected upon the power of that moment and of that encounter. And he said, "Your tongue stammers. It becomes twisted when you try to find the words to explain why she, a Black child, can't go to Funtown like all of the other children." And he says that he would begin to see clouds of antagonism and of fear and inferiority forming in her mental universe, and how sad that was, especially because she was also sadly perhaps forming a sense of dislike, if not hatred, of white people. And that was one of the saddest realizations of all. As we pause to recall Martin Luther King's life and legacy, we need to have grand appreciation for all that he accomplished, all for which he stood, and indeed how close the values of the civil rights movement always was with respect to the Jewish tradition. We always mark this holiday around the time when we read in the Torah about the Exodus, leaving Egypt, becoming free. And in modern times, in 1968, when the Rabbinical Assembly gathered in convention, Martin Luther King was introduced by Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, who was with King in Selma and famously declared, "In Selma, marching for civil rights, I felt like my feet were praying." And 800 plus rabbis at that convention sang at that time, "We shall overcome," but rather in Hebrew as opposed to in English. Anu nitgaber. King was moved beyond words. And I've thought often about the power of doing that in Hebrew, not only because it's the language of Torah, the language of Exodus, the language of freedom, but because of the word itself, lehitgaber. It's not only a matter of overcoming. It comes from a root that means strength. We need to develop strength within ourselves to see the injustice all around and be courageous enough to do something about it. We need to have the strength to realize that within ourselves, all of the hesitations, all of the excuses, all of the realizations that we may never complete the task, but still need to participate in some way in making things better, is our heritage. It is our duty. It is our sacred obligation. So this weekend, when we pause to think about Martin Luther King and we celebrate the splitting of the sea and the Israelites' freedom, let us recall that the task remains unfinished. There is so much more to do to bring a world of justice for all, including the Black community, as we pause this weekend to recall the holiday of Martin Luther King, to fruition, a time to make a better tomorrow, with tikkun olam b'malchut Shaddai, to repair the world under God's sovereignty. Let that be our privilege, and let that be our blessing. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Wishing you all the very best.